Waitresses. Waitresses? Certainly. That is exactly what I said. Ah. Ah. Eh, so, anyways, very, very nice. Here we are. After what? 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 What happened? What? Why? What? Hello? Ah, yeah. Understandable. Anyways, uh, let me let me finish setting this thing up. Also, what? Uh, Rewards enable on your channel. Subscribe to rewards. Shut up. Uh, what a crazy thing. I guess I don't know. Here we are. That is not enough. I feel like. Um, well, no, certainly not just because of that we're here, but I'm still quite, quite sleepy, I guess. So yeah, I am justified by saying things at random. Uh, I don't know. Anyways, so people, here we are. It besides all shocks and whatever, it is quite a funny thing that we are here because I didn't expect that to happen to a certain extent. Because I don't know, I guess I was just um, procrastinating. Perhaps that would be the best type of definition that we can give it. So yeah. Anyways, um, here we are. That's the point. Here we are. Yeah, I don't certainly have that much to say in regards to that. I mean, it took me quite a bit to finally come back. I was quite tired, and I mean, I don't know. I am surprised that I can sometimes sleep like 9 hours or even more. Uh, it does feel weird because supposedly nobody needs to sleep that much. But when it happens, I simply embrace this event. I guess it is like I can't even control when it happens. So okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to rest on such a huge quantity that no nothing else to really add because nothing else is really there to say. So yeah, um, the point is that I guess. But besides that point, um, I don't know. It seems quite crazy to me at the very least that you know you have a lot of things to deal with in your daily life, and despite all of that, you can still find time to do what you enjoy so much. It is like we certainly manage our times in order to enable ourselves to do those very satisfactory things like we we have in our natures that thing of giving or taking as granted a lot of things, and certainly being here is one of them in my case. I didn't even mean to do it like that, but it ended up happening. And even if it feels quite strange, it is, despite all of that, nice. It is like a very, a very good thing, I guess. I keep saying that one of the few things that does happen here is I end up having the possibility of talking about whatever, something that I rarely am given, so I can distract myself very much here, and not in a sense of real distraction, but rather distract myself with what I had been finally thinking, what I had been truly wishing to say, and whatever, and it feels nice to have that chance. So yeah, basically that, I guess. Um, Speaking, using words, language, communicational skills, or whatever, I certainly don't know, and I wouldn't even know if it is that much of a necessity to even take it all that um, seriously, um, in terms of, you know, you every single time that you can usually work on something. But anyways, I guess the real point is we are finally here, and that is so far quite a huge step. I mean, I don't know. One certainly, yeah, it is more justified now. I have been quite tired lately, and I didn't expect to feel that. It has been almost a month mentally for me since the last time I streamed, and it was only like 4 days or so. I think so. So yeah, overcoming that barrier, I guess. And yeah, I don't know, I don't know. I will say though, I certainly don't have that much of a good view, good outlook, good positive um, analysis, however you want to call it, of talking so much like we do here. Certainly, it has become quite a quite a weird thing to analyze, and I don't know. I think sometimes, um, let's say it like this: there are too many ideas that because we can't avoid, yeah, we can't avoid paying attention to them. We say or we think they truly mean the best for us, and by hearing enough of those throughout time, you truly believe that they are trying to help you in any way. And certainly that's not the case. But anyways, that's that, I guess. Give me a second. I want to remove this at the very least. There it is. Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, even. Here we are. After quite a bit, here we have come back. Now I wanted to let me. What is it here? It should be today. Um, colon. Simply talking. Yeah, there it is. Because certainly, even if I wish to do something else, I don't feel like any other thing can be that much of a priority to today at the very least. Tomorrow we will see, and the day um, after tomorrow we will also see. But today, in particular, Um, I don't want to do anything else. I guess I feel like it is quite a more relaxed experience. I guess if I can only sit here and talk like After all, accepting all limitations, no matter how much I move or how much I try to do any kind of ar- articulation of my ideas with the rest of myself, we can only see what is my tiny potato self, let's say. So yeah. Anyways, I before I forget and before we keep going, sorry once again. Hello everybody. Good morning. Have a good day. Welcome. And yeah, here we are. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for watching the VOD. Thanks for everything as always. It is with my utmost pleasure that I can declare now properly that we have finally started and returned to our tiny place. But yeah, uh, very well. I feel like very nice. So, anyways, stuff stuff that has happened. We finally did our celebration. I guess for the record, um, I shouldn't be making that much of a big thing out of that, but certainly whenever I can, I will be trying to do another one. I have been thinking, and perhaps if my plans go well, I will do one like in 2 months or so. No, yeah, technically speaking, today is still 31 of July, so it will be in 2 months. But basically in October, I think it is. I don't know which one is the ninth month, basically. That's when the next. Let me check. August. September. Okay. In September, that's when the next session will happen. If everything goes well, and if I can focus myself towards that, we will have to see though. But anyways, that's the thing. That will be the most imminent one if we can commit and if we can organize ourselves towards that. Um, it will be quite a nice thing to have, I feel like. And by that time, I will also probably have more than enough practice with everything as I wish to have. And certainly, the next time I want to be in any kind of mind altered state, I guess. So that will be also quite satisfying. But yeah, uh, being alive, being alive is a pleasure. So I guess in the meantime, we will be here, simply using our our minds to picture things. I mean, I don't know certainly if I say that many stuff that can be in any way visualized. I it unavoidably happens. There are some particular scenarios that certainly can make anybody think about them because it they appeal to what everybody knows. As in, yeah, you can imagine yourself in a classroom, being surrounded by a lot of students, and I don't know, taking a test, for example. With that setting, you can see that, but I don't know if in the okay, let's say like this. I don't know how much of a percentage of what I say can be visualized. I say this certainly. I think it it kind of came out of nowhere. I say this certainly because I haven't I haven't pretty shortly, not with that much of a deepness to it, thinking like, wow, what a nice thing to have the opportunity to think so much, and also because as I always say, when we read one of the most imaginary stories, I think that will be a good way to call it, one of the most I don't know if that is a proper definition, but I will say mentally picturable stories that is the Mahabharata. Certainly, it does happen that I end up tired after that. But at the very same time, it is like if you put your consciousness to it, You can even picture stuff like what you are doing um, in the moment as you're doing it from a third view perspective, let's say, and you can keep that, yeah, that image of what is happening and that reflection of what is happening despite not being actively thinking about it, let's say, because at the very same time you're doing whatever else is it that you're doing. But the point is mentally exhausting stuff. So yeah, we will see. Uh, I will try my best to reach. Um, as always, I have like 2 hours, so we will see if I can do 2 hours or so. I don't know. I don't know. I I hope to be in any kind of proper distance. Yeah, proper space. Let's say. Also, good evening. I think it is. Savannah. I hope you're doing well. Uh, welcome. Here we are. Simply talking. I guess. So yeah. Uh, I don't know. Very very well. Very much content the with the state of being, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I okay. Let me let me move on to something because I hadn't said anything quite. Thank you, Savannah. Yes, I am finally back. I guess. Um, it took me some time, but I am certainly well, not as in, oh wow, I will never miss another day. I am back today. I don't know what will be of me tomorrow, but I am here today. And I guess I can say, yes, what a nice thing. I I wouldn't say any other day what will happen, but at least for now, I can I can be content with the notion that certainly we we get to finally continue doing the process of thinking, let's say. So happy with that. I mean, I don't know. I will certainly say it like that because sometimes it feels like oneself has too many much, not yet, too many tendencies towards overreacting when we kind of miss our opportunities and such to do the things that we say we enjoy. But I don't know if I feel all that bad for not having been there all the time and not having done all the things that I supposedly um, think about doing. And I mean, for example, even in the last stream, certainly that I missed some things. I was quite content. I think it feels weird. I won't negate it. That side of the reality of it feels weird when you're over worrying about what you might not be doing in the moment in which you are doing stuff like you're starting to see like the negative outcomes happen in the moment in which you are capable of enjoying every good side of stuff. And I don't know. It certainly takes a lot of energy to be in that state because you are too much focused only once again on the negative side and you're not even considering sometimes I feel like what could be called the positive um, aspect of doing whatever. And I guess it does feel bad to see that happening to oneself because it is always the story of the potential that you hold out doing things being wasted on completely, not completely, as if they certainly had no meaning at all. It is obviously a good thing to constantly keep yourself in check as to how much of your energies you are spending on what you truly wish to do or not. But it feels bad, regardless of that, to see that you are okay. Let's say like this: you are too stuck only on the part of being worried and not considering the rest of the good things that happen around you. Let's say so. Yeah, um, I guess basically that, because I even wanted to complain a little bit about what happened the last day, let's say, and at the very same time, it isn't that important. It it was quite an incredible experience. I wouldn't have even expected that to happen. It was quite surprisingly well received, even. So yeah, I I can't negate that I am looking forward to the future, let's say, mm, and even more to whichever other opportunity arises for something like that. Perhaps that is the one thing I will say. Perhaps not too much, if it were to happen, not too much drinking. Wow, what an completely incapable capacity of self 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 um, self administration uh, was that. But yeah, stuff. Now, give me a second because I want to drink water. Thank you. Anyways, I don't know. I think going back at what I was kind of trying to say, I was I was still trying to use my mind on this one thing and trying to make sense out of it, because it feels weird. I have been thinking about it, and it feels weird that once you realize how much time there is to stuff, this on one hand is the nature of those with ADHD, like when you got to be so focused on what is a bigger picture, you tend to lose yourself in the capacity, or yeah, in the way, because it ends up becoming quite impossible for you to be capable of projecting so much. And in this case, it does happen that I feel like certainly it is even worse of a thing once you are taking into account what are your own objectives and such, because you're forgetting how much of an incredible thing it can be to work every single day on, let's say, what you wish to work on. And despite your intentions and despite your desires to do so, somehow it happens that you, I feel like you lose quite a bit the capacity of properly placing into a proper picture of how much of an importance all of your efforts have in this whole thing of taking action, let's say, and you start to justify your lack of, yeah, of things done, of commitment to whatever, with this weird thing of, well, but there is still so much time that I can do it any other day. And that is quite a lot of times the story of everybody, no? That you keep procrastinating and you keep postponing even is that the way in which you say it? You keep evading, let's say it like that. You keep evading what you should be doing. And to that point, there is nothing new, certainly. But after hearing so many things and having analyzed so many sides of this whole thing that is the mind of anybody, I feel quite perplexed to see why it can happen that you consciously decide to do something that later on will bring you so much harm. Because sadly, it is quite the reality that once you miss your chances to do what you wish to do, and once you miss the opportunities to commit to whatever you wish to commit yourself to, you will certainly feel as if you failed yourself to a certain extent because you had the chance of making that one thing happen, let's say. And I don't know, I never truly took it as personally you're almost abandoning yourself because of the excuse of having fears of or whatever, and you're not taking into consideration how also, let's say, your future self will suffer because of your present unactions. So it seems weird sometimes to consider that certainly, even if you don't see it as such, you are doing something quite harmful, consciously or quite consciously. And I don't know. I never enjoy hearing that kind of thing because it is like a yet another reminder of wow, life is short to do what you can with it. Life is short to do what you can with it. And I don't. Certainly, time moves incredibly slowly, for at least for me. So I don't need to be reminded that some other people have it worse in that sense, and that they are certainly spending every single day of their lives doing whichever thing they hate to do because they can't commit to those sides or those activities that they do desire to do so much, but that they hold themselves back from doing because the fear seems to be stronger than every other thing. And I don't know, I certainly see it, feel like it is quite strange to be reminded of how much of a problem you can have without even thinking that it is a problem because it happens quite naturally. I feel like I don't know. I You meet a lot of people that say those things. If you go out in life, let's say, and interact with the world that is available to you, that somehow people complains about basically what I said already. Um, I am personally missing my chances because I am procrastinating too much. And it isn't a story of one or two people. It is like the story, I don't know, of half, maybe even a little bit more of the population, let's say. And I don't know, I keep thinking about it. I keep still trying to make it any kind of coherent thing. This whole side of also give me a second. Okay, sorry. I was starting to get very bad in my throat. Certainly, just waking up is a debuff, I guess. But anyways, I was saying, I think certainly, and I am trying to, one of the few constant things that happen, I guess, on a weekly basis, is trying to make sense still out of how you can give anybody the possibility of making them understand that what they can accomplish is quite meaningful. And I don't know. I think it always is quite an interesting question to ask, at the very least, to yourself, because I was even thinking about it from the side of there is this whole perspective in this kind of field in which you tell yourself that what you can do and what you can bring to the table might be all that good and all that important for everybody else. And I do think, to a certain extent, it is a reality. Everybody is capable of making something interesting, and even more, let's say, if you can realize what your efforts can truly do in the areas in which you are so worried about anything, you end up also realizing how much of a beneficial thing it is for you to certainly try to accomplish whichever thing you say, because there is quite a surprising amount of people not even trying to do the same things that you are working on. And not because they don't have the possibility, but rather because the world, without making it sound too weird, the world hits quite hard. And for that people to simply try to accomplish anything is more than a hard task already. And in that case, it is true that you can bring something quite surprisingly good if you put your energies into it, and if you're capable of not stopping, let's say, at the first, at the first sign of I don't know, of problems. But on the other hand, I think it is like the proper quality of somebody who has self-reflected enough, let's say, that it is not that you can bring out of anything something good. It is only with the proper consideration of what your energies are going to be spent on, and with a proper, with a proper view on what you supposedly truly wish to bring to the table of the living beings, let's say, that you possess the capacity of doing something. But if you haven't even decided to analyze and to become aware of which things you say you are interested in, yeah, in summoning, in bringing to others, in creating, or in, yeah, in bringing into reality, you will certainly, despite whatever you end up doing, you will end up certainly doing something that is unavoidable, but maybe that is not going to be something that, on the final analysis, as always, when you look back, you realize you truly spent your analysis properly. And I guess that is kind of the problem, that in this whole present, I will declare it as that, we lack that much of an opportunity towards realizing how much of an importance what we are truly committing ourselves to has. So we end up kind of, without your whole energy, to not use a worse definition, without using your whole energy, you say that you're committing to one thing and to another, and to do this one particular area, and to do some kind of good in this one field, without realizing that certainly you already feel bad for what you're doing, and certainly you already feel discouraged by whatever is happening around that. And it lacks, yeah, there is a lack of proper containment, I will say, for those who have realized what they are doing stopped being useful. Not because it certainly has been utterly destroyed and it has no more place in society. I mean, to a certain extent, let's say, you can always watch the next movie, but is it really useful to be only concerned about the next movie when you have still higher kinds of responsibilities to attend every single day? And I mean that as somebody who even lives with that kind of people who are, to a certain extent, it will be lovely to have the opportunity of asking them those questions, because certainly it feels weird sometimes when it, your life revolves around so simple things, and not because, wow, you can't do that. No, 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 no. But rather because you take these kind of actions and later on you decide to complain because certainly you lack direction in life. What? Like, I don't think the direction that you're looking for will appear in the next movie that you watch, or in the next series that you decide to consume in the span of a day. It, and I mean, not even in the next superficial conversation that you will hold with those that you say are dear to you. But I don't know. It feels the only one quote unquote positive thing to say is always it feels good to not be on that side, because you don't have to deal with those things. Therefore, you don't have to worry about all of that negativity infecting your existence too. But I don't know. It does feel bad because it is still a lack that a lot of people has, and I certainly don't understand, or I can't so far at the very least picture if it is going to be something that we will be capable of dealing with completely in, I don't know. We have that tendency in the different sciences I have discovered of, wow, yeah, in a thousand years, you're not even going to be remembered anymore. But yeah, in a thousand years, perhaps it won't be a problem, perhaps, but it doesn't matter. It completely doesn't matter to say, oh wow, yeah, in 5 million years, humanity, what matters is the present. What? You're literally just evading your responsibility by saying, oh yeah, in 549 years into the future, we will have finally solved the problem of motivation. No, let's say that we did. Okay, you're not going to be alive to experience that. It means nothing what you said. It completely means nothing what you said. Um, but if it brings any kind of solace to you, I understand that side at the very least, I guess. But yeah, the point was, you can keep hoping. And that is even my biggest kind of question. If that will be a reality, because it is very, very, very easy to say, yeah, in the future something might happen. But I don't think we will find that much of a capacity to motivate people. I mean, we have, not that we, sorry, I was analyzing this conversation that was going on between two sides I inserted myself there when I said we. I certainly wasn't participating. I was literally just watching the video. And one of the points that was brought up was there is something quite funny happening right now, and that is there are parts in the world in which people are being born with normal, standardized levels of IQ, and there are other sides of the world where something utterly funny happens. That there are people being born with levels of intelligence that can be trying to make it as non aggressive as possible. Levels of mental capacities equal to those from the standard countries that have mental problems, let's say, that have mental impairments. I hope it is understandable. I am trying to not make it too insulting. And it is still simply based on stuff like that that you will need to truly see into the world, as in, can we fix something like that? How can you even try to fix something like that? If the average person from those places is like the worst performing kind from the average, and even sometimes even worse than the worst kind of worst person from the best doing countries, how can you even try to solve something like that? I mean, it has been quite annoying to learn how much of an influence older, yeah, people and older kind of conversations had on the people. You wouldn't have expected to see that much of an impact from somebody who died almost, I don't know, 80 years ago or such. Somebody like, yeah, like or dear painter from Germany who commanded Germany to go into the Second World War, basically. You wouldn't have expected that what he did would have such an impact that nowadays, even trying to bring up the topic of, um, we have, not that we are implying that there might exist, no, we have evidence, have a hard evidence about this problem. And if you suggest in any kind of way that these people should be treated differently, you're automatically categorized as a sympathizer for his ideas. When we are simply, I am simply talking about, we have this problem, and one of the main concerns I would hope to that everybody should have with the human race itself is, you know, we we need to optimize. We need to be capable of more everyone, and let's say like this: whoever is on the other side receiving this information is already aware to some extent of their capacities and understands that they can do things properly and that they have a lot, yeah, they have a lot of potential inside of them. The problem then becomes being capable of doing that. But this kind of people is not who we are talking about. We are talking about those who are so incapable of anything that certainly, no matter, I will say, and that is also the problem with this, because there is this tendency to think that those who have, sorry, those who have lesser capacities can't bring anything to the table. Once again, back onto this whole idea of what you focus on can truly influence the world around you or the whole world itself, even if you're capable of putting enough energy into it and enough correct resources into your goals. Certainly it can influence a lot more than what you're expecting, but you never truly find it understandable, at least in my case, if what you are dealing with, and if what you are thinking about is truly or isn't something something that can be that in this case that good or that bad. You never truly know if somebody from those places or with those capacities can't truly bring anything new. And I you always, if you are trying to understand about the nature of your efforts and such, one of the first discoveries that you do is everybody is struggling quite a lot, and everybody is having quite a huge degree of problems. And no matter your skills in life, let's say, you will still struggle to get what you say that you wish to obtain so much. And in the case of those with lesser capacities, let's say, it might be, at the very least, right now, a complete reality that because you're putting your efforts on that, even if your potential isn't that big, you will still accomplish quite a huge margin of things simply based on the reality of not only everybody is focused on their own life and their own struggle, but rather everybody is incapable even of working what they said that they wish to work on so much. And everybody is struggling quite a lot in that very same sense. And I guess at the very least, on the present, in the actual moment, there are still hopes towards these kind of things. But I guess certainly kind of um, uselessly worrying about the future is the point here. Worrying about what will happen with this kind of people and how can you properly solve this kind of problem in, I don't know, 50, 60, 100, 200 years perhaps, when it finally becomes a problem that starts to be talked about, you know? And when it finally is understood as a problem, and not simply as a matter of, oh wow, you're being racist or whatever. So yeah, it we are still not ready for that conversation as a whole, but at the very least, we can hope that while we keep ignoring that one situation that will unavoidably keep perpetuating itself, eh, we will have to deal with a lot of other questions that have high or complete levels of correlation with that one. So yeah, I don't know. I guess certainly at the very least, I will say that in this case, because also it sounded completely irrational to me. I didn't even think it was real. If you are thinking, if you're wondering about it, you should search for something that is called, I think, a global map IQ distribution levels or something like that. And it shows you what I am talking about, and it properly pictures how much of a difference is between, and that is the worst part of this, between the average of one place and the average of one other, and how much of a distance there is between the average of a lower place, between the average of the highest performing place. So yeah, I don't know. It certainly is quite. I feel so sad to have those things in mind. But yeah, we can't simply keep ignoring that. I guess there are other problems of a bigger importance. I mean, certainly, not that there might be, there are certainly other problems of a bigger importance. After all, let's say like this. Sometimes you take too much of an stance on things that don't truly apply to you, not because they don't apply to you, but rather because they are easier to deal with than what is your actual problem. And this certainly can be seen as that in this case. The in the final analysis, you don't gain that many things by wondering or by consistently worrying about what might happen in the future, um, when you are not even solving what is your own nature of existence, I would say, and what is a handful of problems that you still haven't dealt with properly. After all, I will go as far as to say it is easier to deal with this kind of problem because you are, yeah, you're very much just rerunning scenarios and rerunning ideas about things that you know personally you won't have the capacity to any degree of influencing in. So I don't know. It simply is something that takes energy and takes dedication, but can bring you some once again this word comfort, because you just ignore the rest of the stuff that supposedly is important. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, give me a second. I want to drink water. So yeah, let me do it, please. I am feeling it again. My dry, so oh, very well. So, oh, anyways, um, onto something fully different, fully different. I haven't. I wouldn't say having worry. I simply haven't thinking about it. But well, perhaps letting something stay in your mind is already worrisome. That is not a discussion, but perhaps. And what I truly wanted to say is, I have been paying attention to this whole idea of, you know, it feels weird sometimes when you see not simply how much of a potential somebody has, but rather how much of an influence somebody has on others. And not just to the degree to which you say, wow, you're utterly influential and you're utterly important. You're utterly important. You're the highest, yeah, the most important thing that anybody has experienced in their life. No, it is more along the lines of people don't truly realize how much of a positive energy are their existences for the life of others. And it feels quite bad to see even more how much these kind of people can't even position themselves on the side, on the receiving end, let's argue, and notice how much of an incredibly important figure there are for others. Not just because it happens to others, but rather because it is the very same narration that happens even to oneself. It can be, let's say it like this, it can be traced back into this whole discussion of your capacities and such. You sometimes don't even realize how much your efforts towards something are already being, it feels bad to say rewarded, because they are simply being received by others, and the reception of them is not something that you can call a reward. They are being simply obtained because you're just offering them, It is not like, wow. The reward, in my case, I see it as the reward means that you deserve to be rewarded to a certain extent. It doesn't happen like that. It happens that naturally, completely naturally, what you're doing should have some degree of reward. And what you are creating should be obtaining something. And it happens indeed that once you put your mind to those things, you find out how much of an influence is being given to those things. Because what you try to accomplish is not simply being observed by you, and it's not simply being, yeah, enjoyed by yourself. With enough time, you discover and you observe enough people that are being to any degree, because we are not talking about, wow, you changed anybody's life, but you certainly live, and I think it is an imprint on their minds with what you said sometimes, with what you did once, with what you enjoyed doing, with whatever side of you, because that is the most wonderful thing of this. Everybody has the capacity to think for themselves. We are not in a world in which you simply have dogs around you, and in which simply you have less, yeah, beings of a lesser capacity that can't even picture things by themselves. No, we live in a world in which I can, if I wish to, if I am willing to, I can picture completely crazy things without you influencing whatsoever what we are discussing. And because my own will allows me to do so, it also happens that sometimes, while you don't even realize that it is happening, what we end up talking about, what we end up doing, what happens, ends up being a lot more influential sometimes than what I can even conceive, because it is indeed something that I, in the introspection, discovered, and not something that you would to any degree realize. I mean, that is partially why something like simple words can be so influential on others. You, you never know how much of an important thing it might be to hear from those who are around you, from those friends that you have. Something like, I love you, I appreciate you, because you never think and that, wow, I need to hear this thing. But the moment in which it happens, the moment in which you receive that message, is the moment in which your mind starts to run the mental check of, wow, where is this thing coming from? How much I can say that it is a reality? How much I can picture that it is true? How much I can verify if their words correlate with their actions? How much I can truly also try to respond to this thing, in which way? Which side of this is me, and which side of this response is simply my emotions? And what can I say to properly answer? And all of those things that came out of a simple, some very, very simple words that were uttered, like, once again, I love you, I appreciate you, I find your existence comfortable, whatever you say to others, or whatever is said to you in this case. Because that is also the other side, sorry, that you can very much say those things, and you can find out how much of an influence you can have on those who are around you by simply deciding to speak some more and to be some more with those who you say you you enjoy being with. And not because, wow, you say that you enjoy being with them, you need to prove that. No, 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 no. Nobody truly knows what you know and what you think about. So if you say that you do something, you feel something, you feel in a certain way, anything, sadly, nobody but you can truly know that. And sometimes it isn't even that a reality, because eh, em- emotional comprehension, or yeah, that is a different skill. Comprehension of your own emotions, that is the proper name of that, is a completely different skill that takes quite some time to practice. So yeah, it is understandable that what we are talking about is not that much replicable to any degree anywhere. But yeah, the point is that I guess taking action, I will say it as taking action and being more active with those things that you say you enjoy. I mean, I don't, I don't like it because the, the, the final reality of this is certainly because life is finite and you never know when things will reach an end, and you never know when you ended up missing your chance because everything finished without you even realizing that it did so. You never know when that final, or not even that final, that moment that you had been waiting for so much has finally disappeared from in front of you. And I hate that people shield so much the reality of, and that is why it is necessary for you to act so much and to be capable of doing whichever thing you wish to do so much, because you never know if tomorrow a completely random event isn't going to take the lives of those who you admire, those who you enjoy being with, those who you have around you. Whichever thing is it, even your own life is incredibly flimsy, and it seems like once again a lot of things are taken for granted, and it loops back into this whole idea of, yeah, maybe I don't have to worry so much about being with my friends. Maybe I don't have to worry so much about enjoying the presence of others. And it does make sense that the stress that you suffer can make you not realize this reality. But it doesn't mean that it isn't a reality. It is still quite horrible to find out that all of this is of such a nature. I think so. Dale, que a mí me gusta la Pepsi. Welcome, Siano. I didn't even realize you were streaming. Sorry. Uh, good night. I think it is good. Welcome, basically. Thank you for the ride. I hope you had a nice stream. I I hope you were capable of enjoying whichever you did, because certainly I don't even know what you were doing. But I'm glad to see that you're back. I hope so. And the stream, I think so far is well, on decent, very much enjoying it. Simply talking, nothing out of the ordinary. Um, but yeah, here we are taking some time out of our days to think. I guess I wouldn't know how to call it any other way. But let me do this. Shout out. But here, okay, to do this. Thank you once again. Thank you, Ciano, for the raid. Quite appreciated as always. Stick of truth. Ah, yeah. I sti- Stick of truth is the first one, no? So will you play the second one? What? Anyways, I'm very glad that then that you were capable of enjoying the game. And as far as I'm concerned, it is the second one. So I hope you can also play the. No, sorry, it is the first one. So I hope you can play the second one. But yeah, um, what is this word from? Ah, uh, understandable. But yeah, I no, I haven't played any of those games. I certainly don't play. that many games. I have seen them, I have watched them, but I haven't played any any of those at all. Um, I have what has been the closest thing I have played? I think it is some kind of RPG, like I don't know. I guess so. The South Park series would be something like Final Fantasy, I guess, but even then, certainly they are not that much similar. But yeah, um, I know they are funny. I mean, after all, they have quite a lot of they have South Park behind. Therefore, it is quite a nice humor and such. Um, the more you finish the game, or the closer you get, uh, I understand. Yeah, yeah. Also, sorry if the chat is quite hard to read. I understand. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Final Fantasies are quite nice, but they are different. Certainly, Final Fantasy is more focused on a narrative, and this the South Park series is more like banter. If we had to place it in any kind of um, dif- um, place, not place, area, like there are a lot more funny moments and such. But yeah, I don't know. I think there are still quite a nice experience. I guess playing them is nice, and the best thing is hearing that somebody can enjoy them, because certainly it's even more with the South Park series. There is quite a lot of uh, is rancid the proper word? Rancid humor. So yeah, um, or reactionary humor, I guess. But yeah, I surprising. Sorry for no, okay. No, no problem. Completely no problem. Thank you for the raid once again. Um, it is fully understandable. I mean, it it is no problem. But yeah, um, then I guess I didn't say it. People, if you can, please. We are not going to name names now because it is bad to say any particular name. But if you can give Sienna Nightingale a chance, please, you who is listening from the other side, I would be very thankful. Certainly, quite an entertaining girl, and yeah, she. I will describe it as somebody who likes to play games and also who likes to talk quite a lot. And yeah, please, you. I won't say your name, but you know that I am talking to you right now, and it is getting even uncomfortable because I am saying too much things that are directed specifically at you. Uh, you hear a photo, thank you. Now I will back down on the amount of self-awareness that we're bringing to the table. It is too early for this, so let me drink some water, and after that I will continue. Thank you. Anyways, so what was happening before continuing? I was simply discussing. I don't even remember exactly what. I think it was something along the lines of, yeah, the moment in which you don't realize how much of an influence you have on others and on similar things. We ended up kind of looping back into this part of the conversation after a whole hour, I think so, of me going on. And I don't know, it feels quite, once again, it feels quite bad because we were on, I think one of the last point was on the nature of being alive and how short-lived we can be. And I don't know, it seems quite horrible because one of the unavoidable things that happen is the amount of sorrow that you can carry with you, because it doesn't get said enough that it certainly is important to be part of the conversations, and it certainly is important to partake in whichever thing you wish to partake in, not for the sake of being driven around by your desires, but rather because you understand and you have at the very least the possibility of enjoying the pleasures brought to you by being active and giving also to others the happiness that you can feel for them, let's say. Because even the most antisocial human being has some degree of holy, it has some degree of connections to other people, and it feels annoying once again that we have this whole narrative of no, yeah, you shouldn't worry about doing things. You can avoid every other thing, and there is some degree of understandability about this, and certainly it lays on the basis of it is quite bad to be so focused only on the negative side and the negative aspect of life. It is good to take your time, and it is good, and almost it should be an obligation for everybody to be capable of bringing themselves back to what they need to deal with and what they should be properly attending. You shouldn't be pushing yourself too hard, and you shouldn't be only doing what you know is the highest, most important thing. It is quite bad to act that way, and it is quite harmful because certainly everybody has some degree of energy that they can spend, and after that you start to burn out unavoidably. But sometimes simply, as I am doing here, words, they don't take any kind of energy, and they don't consume any part of you. And the worst part is not that they are of such a nature. The worst part is once again, you don't hear enough people saying, and this whole idea of you need to say what you think and what you hold inside of yourself as something that you know is true. It ends up being quite horrible to realize that now somehow you decided to avoid such a responsibility, and you will have to carry the pain of knowing that you could have done something and never have acted upon that. It feels horrible to see that what you wish to accomplish keeps escaping your hands because simply you decided that it wasn't worthy of being obtained by you. It is a reality, and it is quite a horrible one to find out that people is so punished by such things. And I don't know. One tries to not be so tired about these things, but certainly at some point you find out that it is like a whole thing that keeps being maintained, and you can't even. It makes no sense to blame anybody, because it is quite easy once you see that it happens to try and change that habit onto you, and also to try and show others what it is happening. This whole game of oh no, yeah, but the blame might come, dogs. The blame might come from this one side. The blame might come from this other side. It doesn't need to be that much of a thing. It doesn't mean anything in the end, because it is a problem that you can solve, not a problem that you need to kill the creator of it to finally solve. And I don't know. It once again the final problem is that, and it feels quite horrible to see that the people is so much troubled by things that happen of such kind, because I don't know. I can't say it in any other way. It won't hurt so much to lose somebody who you say you like, somebody who you say you have quite a fond memory of, if you were capable of properly acting on what you think, on what you see and what you, yeah, what you have inside of you, Harvey, it is quite horrible to see that not only you're dealing with the pain of those who are gone because of one reason or another, but also you're dealing with the pain of even knowing that you could have done something. Because it isn't about this whole side of wasted incredible capabilities in which you might have if you put your mind to it, I don't know, create the most inspiring picture. No, 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 no. It is simply sometimes 1 minute is more than enough to say that you have done everything that you needed to do to enjoy being with others. And it is quite horrible to say that it isn't being talked about because it is one of those problems that later on, as somebody who talks with other people, you will find out everybody has to deal with, and everybody is dealing with to some degree or another. Because I don't even understand why it seems more reasonable to say that and to act in such a way than to really be capable of giving giving out what you hold inside of you and what you know even sometimes will be beautiful for others to also receive. And I it takes quite a lot of energy because even sometimes the worst part of this is you realize where is this barrier of people truly deciding that because they feel ashamed of saying something, they they are going to do something bad or whatever. It is like sometimes you don't even comprehend why you have shame. You simply you feel the shame, and because you feel it, you say, "Yeah, okay, this is where I stop. This is where I don't continue doing anything that I wish to do. This is where it makes sense for me to not keep going." What? You already know that you can do something good, and you already are more than aware of your importance, and you're more than capable of seeing how good of a thing it can be to be with others in this case. And simply because you feel some speck of shame, you decided to give up. What was the point of everything if you were going to surrender so easily? And dogs, the worst thing is not only that it happens that way, but that it is something that we encourage. What I don't get it sometimes, but I think that is part of being in this world, man. That you can see stuff like that. Also, thank you, Ramnor, and bless you for being here. I guess for taking your time to say to in whatever you can do, being here. I will say I I am just speaking. After all, it can mean nothing if there is nobody else on the other side who wishes to receive the message. You know. So thank you for being so interested in whatever I am talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I think it is quite perplexing to see things like that, and it is quite. I feel annoying to see that we we can with such an easiness deal with some of those problems, and I yeah, that is basically the point, that you can do a lot and that you can accomplish quite a handful, and not a handful. You can accomplish almost everything that you put your mind into doing, but sadly there is this minimal degree of friction that holds you back, and this minimal amount of awareness about what happens around you that makes you truly believe, I shouldn't be trying. And it is. I am sorry, but it is a fucking lie. And I am utterly discontent with the nature of the world when people decides to say, oh yeah, you shouldn't be trying anything. What? You don't even know how much of a capacity you have. Once again, the beginning of this was sometimes you don't even realize how little everybody is struggling so much. The capacity of bringing something into reality is born into you as it is in everybody else. But if you can capitalize on that, you don't even realize how much of a beautiful thing it can be to work on it. Because as much as you are struggling, everybody else is on the same, on even on a worse place. Simply having the capacity of being aware of how much of a good thing you can be should bring to you liberation and should inspire you towards doing whatever you wish to do. You never realize how much of a beautiful thing it is for you to work on that and how much of a legacy you can leave behind. And somehow we are simply held back at the stage of thinking, at the stage of trying to put our minds on anything. It is quite a horrible thing and quite a disheartening thing to see that, oh yeah, I hit my first block. I will completely give up. What? You will simply start thinking, it is quite, quite tiresome, I guess. At some point, at the very least, you will see that you have reached quite a lot of your objectives if you commit to that, but it takes patience. It always does. And I guess that is certainly something different. But the topic of cultivating the proper patience is quite a beautiful one. A lot of things take incredible amounts of time. But at the very same time, just knowing that with enough patience you will receive the rewards that you are looking for so much should be, again, capable of helping you in going forward. Because the point is not that, wow, it will take me years to reach any place. No, what? It isn't about that. It is about, you know, if you put your mind into it, you will accomplish that. But you just simply need to be committed. And being committed to whichever thing you say you want to accomplish is the initial step of that. You already took quite a handful of them to be where we are in right now. So from here onwards, you simply need to keep going. And sometimes when it's undervalued so much even more, I feel like it's the reality of the hardest thing is always to begin to sorry what to begin with and to start doing anything. But continuing is a lot simpler because sometimes continuing can be of a lot less of a degree than what ends up being the act even sometimes of giving up. And if you enjoy it, it is something that you should be looking forward to doing, not something that you feel horrible for trying to do. I you come to hate stuff, and in my case, I certainly do fully hate these ideas and this side of the world which tells you, oh yeah, you know what? There is this minimal amount of discomfort in your life, in the goal that you have. Time to give up. What? What? How can you be so miserable that you want to make other people miserable like that? What was the point of anything if you are going to surrender so easily? Why did you lie? Or is it that you that is the biggest problem, I guess, in this case. You don't even know if you're lying before or if you're lying now when you say, oh yeah, I wish to give up. No, nobody wishes to stop what they say that they love to do so much. It is the situations that make you stop, and it is whatever happens around you that forces you to stop. But sometimes what forces you the most is your inner battle and what you are thinking about and what you believe about the situations that go on without even realizing how much you can make it work and without even holding that hope that once again should guide you towards somewhere, and you don't even need to know exactly where. Sometimes you just need to trust some more and to keep going, because not every single day it will be the most clearest of the days about being alive or whatever. But I don't know, man. Life is such that sometimes it becomes quite impossible for anybody to stay positive, I guess. So it makes sense to lose some battles, but I think in that perspective, what matters the most is always this thing of you shouldn't be worried about winning or losing the battle. You should be worried about the war that keeps going and surviving until the very end. Because certainly, even if every single day is a struggle, amidst all of that, you can find quite a handful of enjoyable things, you know? So yeah, I I don't know. But what I know at this point is that I need to take a break. I need to, if you catch my drift, I need to take a tiny little break to do something somewhere for some seconds. So yeah, uh, very very thankful for everything, but I need to do something for 1 second. So yeah, my tiny schedule idle break. ありがとうございます. Yeah. So yeah, give me like 1 minute or so. I'll be back. Yo, what's up? I am not fully back, as always. In the break, in the intermission, uh, let me let me do something, people. Thank you. Let me let me. The problem is I have like two people in mind, so let me do it. Anyways, uh, where the here it is. Almost. Yeah, I I don't know why is it mentally instantly hashtag no slash raid. It isn't raid. Uh, it isn't a slash raid. But anyways, okay, there it is. Um, intermission. So I can do whatever I want. Therefore, I wanted to shout out to Ramnor. Um, my guy Ramnor, very good gamer. Um, ESL just as me, so also very welcome. Also ESL like Sun, uh, but yeah, very nice, uh, very nice guy. Please, once again, okay. You, I know that it gets unsettling when I get too personal, but please, can I ask you once again, follow Ramnor? Uh, you know that I'm talking to you, even if you don't believe that I'm talking to you. So please, talk to him, uh, follow him, give him a chance. Anyways, there it is. No more ads. So we're back. Good morning, good evening, good night. Here we find ourselves doing stuff. I guess I don't really know. So, anyways, what what we left in was a little bit more of introspection, I guess. Uh, I don't know. Certainly, on that very same topic uh, of hate, it becomes quite weird to see. Yeah, it is quite a meta talk, let's say, but sometimes you see people that are so interested only in doing harmful things, let's say, that it is quite funny to see that. After all, there is a point in which the hate that they exude end up going around the point of wow, what a sad thing, for into a point of what, why are you so angry at the world, little one? What's happened? So it ends up being, at the very least, funny to be in this world, because certainly with enough time you will see things that, out of the amount of exaggeration behind them, you discover quite a handful of incredibly surprising things that, at the very least, in my case, surprise you and certainly give you quite a little bit of loss and quite a, I would say, not truly quite a lot after all. It is quite understandable. You shouldn't try to be like that, people, but it is funny to see them still, regardless of the connotations and whatever. It is quite an interesting thing to watch somebody be like that, you know? And I certainly, on the other hand, it is quite sad that the whole world doesn't condemn. I will not say probably the people who is like that to a certain extent. Certainly, you are you couldn't decide how you were brought up to be so full of hatred. Sadly, you'd have no position in that side of the argument. You have no possibility of talking about it, and you have no chance of being part of this conversation when it was happening. Because sometimes it doesn't even happen that anybody decides to help or to not help or to modify your behavior in one side or the other one. But sadly, you find out that you ended up being like that. And I don't know. I had been having this whole conversation with a friend about commitment. Sometimes we become too committed to the character that we're playing, and not just in a surface level, but sometimes even the character that is ourselves in our lives, what you represent and what everybody knows you for, ends up being something that you overly commit and something that you overly play into, and it feels weird because certainly, even more in the case of somebody who is full of hatred, you know that you're doing something quite harmful to yourself by being like that. And you know that sadly, you're not gaining anything by acting in such a way. You're only damaging others and you're only doing negative stuff to others, but you are not truly reaching anything of true substance by being like that. And I don't know. It it always is quite a hard thing to talk about because you are not in that position. Therefore, it makes sense to say, wow, it's so good to not be in such a place. But it is like, oh, wow, I am not dying. Certainly that is good. Also, I don't truly know if it is that much of a difference, if it is that much of a good thing to just not be dying. Like it isn't an accomplishment whatsoever. So I I don't know, man. Sometimes it just feels like that. And once again, the main point is this kind of people are inherently. I not in a bad sense. I hope it is understandable. Weird because you see how much we fail people to such a degree that somebody can be like that. And it is completely normal for society. That is the worst part of this. Like, nobody truly wishes to say anything about the nature of somebody of such kind when it should be fully paid attention to and fully observed that nobody should be acting in such a way. After all, imagine if you certainly were like that every single day and nobody even tries to correct you. It is quite disheartening even to see it from that perspective. But I don't know. I guess there are some things that can't be changed. And even if they are quite bad, and even if it certainly doesn't fix the problem, not over focusing on the bad side of it is quite a helpful tool. Because after all, it doesn't yeah, it isn't about what you experience. It is rather about what everybody is experiencing, what everybody is paying attention to. So life, I guess. Focus on more on what happens to you. As long as you are not getting directly damaged by such kind of people, you shouldn't be worrying so much, I guess. But it is still sad to see that we fail people to such a degree. I mean, we have a lot of shortcomings, certainly. And the more you stay alive, the more you realize such kind of things. Like in this whole conversation, even we have talked about 3 or 4 different ways and 3 or 4 different things that also happen in that very same nature about how you discover that you are being influenced in some degree or how you discover that you are being I wouldn't say manipulated simply, but rather how the environment around you decided before you even had the chance that things should be of one nature or another, and it is there that it feels bad because you know you shouldn't be so moved by things so outside of your control or so inconsequential to you sometimes, but it still happens. I mean, it unavoidably happens, but it is just like those errors that shouldn't happen in any capacity that they still do because somehow it just does without any explanation whatsoever, and that is the weird thing, to see stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, It is one of those weird conversations to have, but certainly the world in which we live is already quite strange by default to a certain extent. It is quite a surprising place where we are. If you see it with all honesty, that we have so many ways to entertain ourselves, we have so many things to do, so many people to talk to, so many activities to perform, so many mm, places to be in. There are so many things, and all of them are utterly weird, man. It is like, yeah, I will certainly accept this as a reality without even asking if it is something that makes sense or not. That out of nowhere, for example, out of nowhere, you're in a place in which it is normal for people to utilize substances to live completely different realities. Like, if you were designing a game, that will be an utterly weird mechanic to implement, yet somehow it exists in this world. It somehow also exists that you can get sick. That is okay. But you, instead of deciding to properly treat your sickness, you can decide to spend all your money on completely alternative methods. And not only it is weird that, because you can imagine whatever. The weirdest part is those alternative methods might even work, and might even work better than the original ones, depending all on the amount of things that happen behind, because there is not even a proper explanation for them. So it is amazing. It is this world. I think it reflects back into this whole side of sometimes you don't even realize how much of an influence you can have. Like we certainly we had a dog become so important for the whole world that people all over internet were sad because it passed away on of a natural death, of a happily natural death. Like what? What? It, it is a pleasure to be an spectator of this world, but at the very same time, certainly it feels weird. It is like sometimes it gets to. I don't want to say it in any other way. I feel like it is insulting already. It feels too weird, man. It is a place that you you observe and you realize what? How is all of this happening? And why is it happening? But I don't know. I guess as long as one doesn't have any problem with the rest of this whole existence, there is no bad thing, I would argue. But yeah, it is. The world is quite a strange place, certainly. I mean, I wanted to finish that there, but we still have a whole business of entertainment that is making entertainment itself of any kind about realities that don't exist. It is like, what? Why are we doing that? Well, being all honest, what is the point of making whatever that is so out of the world in which you live? Like, what do you gain? Because it isn't even. Imagine if we had the capacity of. No, it is like, oh wow, very evil guys come from a completely different universe to do bad stuff, or this one archdemon tries to conquer the world, and our heroes will have to save the world with their magical abilities. What? I understand the entertainment. I understand the necessity of that. But why did we decide so much that we needed such levels of creativity? That is the weird thing. I mean, uh, the one that will remain untalked about, but that can also be easily point out uh, that is happening right now. That one also is like, what? What is this? Why does this thing make sense? You know, like what? In which world are we living in that this thing makes sense? But I guess that's the nature of life. I don't know. Eh, existence. But anyways, I guess that's everything from me today. I didn't want to get too meta. So yeah, it happened, but I didn't want that to happen. So excuse me, I will have to contemplate and ponder my errors. I am want to get too self-aware. Let's say. But anyways, so I certainly don't know what to say. Besides, wow, we're going to rate someone. Certainly, as always, it is completely free to do so. Therefore, we might partake of the action of rating. Uh, the question is where, who, who, whomst. Also, yeah, I was pretty sure there was a word that was like whomst, but I haven't found it. I don't know. I I made up that word or what, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So, anyways, I I guess I found someone. I don't know the radio. I opened my radio. I didn't mean to open my radio. Um, anyways, people, as always, thanks for being here. But it has reached an end point. We are very close to me going to drink some mates. I am more than I'm more than content with whatever transpired today. But yeah, uh, as with everything, this has become sadly finite. Time for me to take a tiny uh, leave until the next time, whenever it happens that we get back here. Perhaps, probably, very probably tomorrow, I will have to. I will be focusing very, very intensely on trying to be here tomorrow. I, I wish to be. I wish to see if we can get some consistency behind me. So yeah, we will see how that goes. But anyways, people, here, there it is. Okay, as always. Aha! It was. I am incredible. I am a professional. I went completely. And the best thing is because I wanted to avoid so much using the wrong button, I used the other one. So yeah, we are going to rate it there. But before before that, shout out because yeah, I don't know, it was all intended. It was all part of my scheme. Anyways, uh, ah, anyways, sorry, I got distracted. What I was trying to say is, as always, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for watching the VOD. Thanks for everything. It has been quite a nice day. Whenever we can, we're going to get back here. And even if it doesn't happen, even if it is the last time that we see ourselves, thanks for all. It has been my utmost pleasure to be here. So yeah, please remember to be happy, remember to hydrate, remember to sleep, remember to be responsible and do whatever you need to do. But anyways, now more into the present. Here we're going to raid. That is the thing that is going to happen next. Where are we going to raid into Hiaster, who is just beginning? Uh, it says art, so I guess she will be doing art later on, but it is just the beginning. Her stem. So yeah, anyways, people, goodbye until the next one. Thanks for all. Have a good one. Love you all, people. Goodbye. Right, exactly now. Holy shit, this is a secret message. This can't be. A self-aware secret message? What?